Charles Luciano never played an instrument, never wrote a song, never set foot on a stage. But for a stretch of years, that mattered more than most people realize. He decided who did. This is the story of the man who didn't run jazz. He ran the rooms jazz lived in. Salvatore Lucania came off the boat from Sicily in 1907, 9 years old, into a Lower East Side that didn't forgive softness. By his 20s, he wasn't Salvatore anymore. He was Charlie, lucky to the people who survived doing business with him. And there's a reason that nickname stuck. The Castellamarese War tore the old Sicilian families apart in 1930 and 31. Luciano didn't just survive it, he ended it by having his own boss, Joe Masseria, killed, then doing the same to the man who replaced him. What he built afterward wasn't a gang. It was a commission, a board. American organized crime stopped being about one king and started being about a system that outlived any single man at the top. Prohibition didn't create organized crime, but it handed men like Luciano the one thing every empire needs, a product everybody wanted that only they could legally, well, illegally, supply. And the speakeasies that sold his liquor needed something else to keep people in the door past midnight: music, jazz. So Luciano's people didn't just run the bottles, they ran the bookings, the contracts. Who got the good rooms and who got nothing? A musician's career could turn on a conversation that had nothing to do with how well he played. It's an ugly truth sitting right underneath a beautiful one. Some of the most important rooms in jazz history, the ones where careers were actually made, were owned, protected, or shaken down by men exactly like him. He wasn't a patron of the art. He was a landlord who happened to own the only buildings the art could legally exist in. Every empire built on rooms like that eventually meets a man who wants to walk into them with a warrant. Thomas Dewey built his career on tearing Luciano's down. In 1936, Dewey convicted him on charges tied to a prostitution ring. 62 counts, 30 to 50 years. Luciano always maintained the case was thinner than the sentence suggested. Doesn't matter. The empire that controlled the rooms jazz played in was now being run by a man behind bars at Clinton Correctional, a few hundred miles and a world away from the clubs bearing his fingerprints. Here's where the story gets stranger than fiction. During World War II, naval intelligence quietly leaned on Luciano's connections to the New York waterfront, Operation Underworld, trading his cooperation for the promise of release. In 1946, he got it. Not freedom exactly. Deportation. Luciano sailed back to the country he left as a child, and he never set foot in the rooms he used to own again. The clubs kept playing without him. The music outlived the men who controlled the doors, the way it always does. That's the part worth sitting with. Jazz didn't need Luciano. Luciano needed jazz, needed the rooms it filled to build something that in the end didn't survive him either. Charles Luciano died in Naples in 1962. No instrument, no song, just a name that still shows up in the history of rooms he never should have had a say in. Next time, we go to one of those rooms, Hell's Kitchen, Oni Madden's territory.